Hi, I'm Robin Hilton Bowden and welcome to Pleasure Rebellion. Today we're talking about orgasm and I'm going to answer the question, what is orgasm really? So in 1966, Masters and Johnson released a study that detailed the sexual experience for women, and they described orgasm in the following way. So it was a 4-step process. The first step was excitement. So this is when pleasure is building and blood is flowing into the genitals. The next step was plateau. So plateau, there's lubrication and the breasts begin to swell and a woman may begin to pant or hold her breath. And then the next step was orgasm. So during orgasm, they describe this experience as the muscles or the sphincters in the pelvic floor begin to contract and release. And this feels like a release of built-up sexual tension. And then the final stage was resolution. So this is the period where everything returned to baseline. So they describe the experience of men and women as pretty much the same path. So both men and women went through this process of excitement, of plateau, of orgasm, and then resolution. And this is the definition that we've been working with since 1966. So new research is challenging this definition of orgasm. And so it's considering that there are similarities for sure between the male experience and the female experience, but it's also taking into consideration that women's experience of orgasm is very much an experience of her mind as well. So we know that the mind can play a big role in women's experience of their sexuality. About 15% of women claim that they do not experience orgasm at all. And so these women oftentimes feel like they're broken. And they feel broken because they're not experiencing orgasm in the way that they're expecting to experience it. What if we reconsidered the notion of orgasm entirely? Would reframing our experience of orgasm as something that doesn't necessarily parallel the experience of men's change the way that women feel about the orgasmic experience? So orgasm as the goal of the sexual experience is something that's definitely been embedded into the psyche of women. And I think that's because the path of pleasure most often follows what men's path of pleasure is. And of course, orgasm is a goal because procreation. So a better definition of orgasm is the experience of pleasure that expands so much that a mind shift occurs and a woman experiences complete surrender to the moment. Emily Nagoski describes orgasm in her book, Come As You Are, as the release of built-up sexual tension. And she says that many women feel, after the experience of orgasm, a sense of doneness. So they have crossed the threshold and feel a sense of completion. So one of the really cool things about orgasm for women is that it's not evolutionarily advantageous to orgasm or not orgasm, and it's not an evolutionary adaptation. So orgasm is just simply our way to experience mind-altering surrender. So orgasm can be experienced in multiple different ways, and it doesn't always necessarily involve genital stimulation. So women can experience orgasm in their genitals, yes, but they can also experience orgasm in their chakras or in their heart or in their breasts or in their toes. And so there are as many definitions or descriptions of the experience of orgasm as there are women who are having them. So there is no one right or better way to have an orgasm. And in fact, by placing value only on one type of pleasure or one type of peak pleasure experience totally devalues the vastness of women's ability to experience all kinds of intense surrendered pleasure. So in order for women to experience orgasm, part of our brains must go offline. And the part that needs to go offline is the thinking part of the brain that can often be very judgmental during the experience of pleasure. So this part of our brain might be really attached to the idea of orgasm being the goal. And the more that we focus on that orgasm being the goal, the more that part of our brain is unable to surrender to the experience. So how do we get that part of our brain to go offline so that we can experience a feeling of surrender? Well, the first thing that we need to do is ditch the goal completely. So let go of your expectation of what type of peak pleasure experience you're going to have. Once you ditch the goal, then really tap into the experience of pleasure moment to moment. Notice all the sensations in your body and really begin to dive into the delicious juiciness of pleasure for the sake of pleasure. So I'm going to encourage you to just drop the goal entirely and start to experience pleasure for pleasure's sake. So you can do this day to day. Say you go out in nature, experience the pleasure of nature, allow that to expand, and then it may expand so much that you surrender completely to the moment. Orgasm. You can do this by eating delicious food. You can do this brushing your teeth. You can do this receiving a massage from your partner. So what I'm suggesting is that we allow the orgasmic experience to move from strictly just being in the bedroom into this way of experiencing our lives, so we can actually begin to experience our lives through the lens of orgasm. Imagine how beautiful that could be. So in conclusion, not all orgasms are alike. None are better than others. There is as many descriptions of orgasms as there are women having them. Drop the goal, experience pleasure for pleasure's sake, and I believe that all women are capable of the orgasmic experience. So instead of deciding what you think the experience should be, let's just open it up to the experience of simply surrendering moment to moment to the pleasures of our life. So what is your experience of orgasm? Take a few moments and tell me below in the comments. I'd love to have a conversation about this with you. If you like this video, click like, and if you want to see more videos like this, subscribe to my channel.